Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 5, Seeking Immortality in the Eastern Sea. Volume 5 Pinyin Donghai Xuan Xian. Chapter 69 506 Ghost King Corpse King. 69th of Volume 5. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Excavating the remains of an ancient immortal giant beast offered immense rewards, but it was also fraught with peril. This was akin to disturbing the slumber of an ancient immortal. Corpse transformations had occurred before, devastating life across tens of thousands of miles and nearly annihilating an ancient sect. On other occasions, the excavation had roused primordial evils, resulting in the gruesome deaths of all involved. Transcendents from the Western monster race, Eastern Sea monster clan, and Lingxiao realm human race had all converged to assist. Among them were the founding ancestor of the Zhuoqiu family's Confucian Dao, the sect leader of the Thundercloud sect, transcendents from the Zhu sect, and the ancestor of the Tuoba clan. The Thundercloud sect had even brought their supreme artifact. The Jellyfish clan and Zhao clan, rulers of the Eastern Sea, had dispatched even more transcendent-level demon beasts than the Lingxiao human clan. Each creature resembled a primordial beast from the great wilderness, their demonic chi condensing into dark clouds as they collectively bore the massive body of the ancient immortal dragon remains. Li Wei couldn't sense Master Coffin's presence, indicating he remained hidden, unwilling to reveal himself. The heaven and earth's spiritual chi was in chaos. The celestial phenomenon shifted unpredictably. Bathed in the radiant light emanating from the ancient immortal dragon remains, the surrounding sea transformed into a golden expanse, shrouded in a 1,000-mile-long haze. The Phoenix Tree. It's the Phoenix Tree mirage. The immortal spring. An immortal spring has truly been born. Exclamations of awe and bestial roars erupted from the Nine Reef Islands. Above the ancient immortal dragon remains, a towering ancient tree materialized as a phantom. Its trunk was as thick as a mountain peak, its canopy spanned 300 miles, and its leaves shimmered in 5 iridescent colors. As the wind rustled through its branches, the illusory leaves fluttered down like phoenix feathers, transforming into a multicolored rain of foliage. Li Wei extended his palm and caught a phoenix feather-shaped leaf. Though ethereal, a wisp of 5-colored light, its delicate veins and downy textures were vividly detailed. Whoosh! The phoenix feather leaf merged into his palm, vanishing without a trace. Li Wei flipped his hand over, examining the back, but felt no discernible change. A joyful voice rang out nearby. Everyone, quickly gather these phoenix feather leaves. Absorbing them refines your tendons and reshapes your skin, strengthening your physical body. It's truly miraculous, I can feel a noticeable improvement with each leaf I absorb. The speaker was a dragon seed Dao martial cultivator from the 4th heaven of the Dao seed realm. His skin had transformed into a vibrant 5-colored hue, a clear indication of the extraordinary benefits he had gained. It's true. They really do strengthen the physical body. Even my blood chi is changing. The martial mystic cultivators on the island erupted into a frenzy, realizing the immense value of their harvest. They began employing various methods to pull and guide the phoenix feather leaves from beyond the island's perimeter. Li Wei realized that his already formidable physical body was why he felt little noticeable change. For other cultivators, however, the benefits remained boundless. He summoned Hongling, Red Silk, his crimson silk sash, and helped Yaoyan, Yin'er Shi Si, and the other young hidden ones gather leaves for a while. Then, he paused, his gaze fixed on the spring that had materialized in midair. Liquid spiritual chi gushed from the spring, and strange medicinal herbs of unknown grade sprouted around it. The transcendents swiftly collected them all. Some great immortal cultivators also surged from the earth, each managing to secure 1 or 2 plants. What's that? Li Wei noticed clusters of white light appearing above the withered sea. Within each glowing orb, faint dragon shadows flickered intermittently, creating an ethereal and mysterious spectacle. Master. The frigid chi emanating from the treasure box in Yuer's hands had frozen her hands solid. She couldn't shake it off, and her hands trembled uncontrollably. Her small face flushed crimson as she looked anxiously at Li Wei, unsure what to do. Li Wei pretended not to notice her gaze, focusing intently on the ancient immortal dragon remains in the distance. Truth be told, he was just as clueless about what to do. Countless eyes were around them, so he dared not use the Dao ancestors' Tai Chi fish to collect the glowing orbs. Moreover, with his current cultivation level, he wasn't even sure if he could successfully retrieve them. It's dragon soul source light. Condensed from a wisp of soul thought of the ancient immortal giant dragon, each orb contains insights into its great Dao. Refining them can enhance cultivation, strengthen the soul spirit, and improve comprehension. Great powers from the immortal realm surged out of the subterranean fissures, vying to claim the orbs. Dragon Soul Source Light offered immense benefits to immortal realm cultivators. Refining a single orb could grant profound insights into Taoist methods, saving them a decade of arduous cultivation. Whoosh! Drawn by the pearl within the treasure box, the floating orbs of dragon soul source light began streaming toward Phoenix Stone Reef. This unusual phenomenon drew the attention of several transcendents, though they didn't dwell on it. Such anomalies were commonplace. As long as it wasn't a corpse transformation or the emergence of some primordial evil, it was nothing to worry about. Li Wei glanced at Yuer beside him, concerned that the dragon soul source light might fly directly into the treasure box, attracting the suspicion of powerful figures. He stepped in front of Yuer and activated the governor's robe he wore. The cloud dragon patch on the robe's chest suddenly glowed brightly, emitting concentric spatial ripples. Whoosh! Whoosh! A dozen streams of dragon soul source light pierced through the formation glyphs and luminous veil, crashing into the cloud dragon patch on Li Wei's robe. The patch contained an inner space, sealing the dragon soul of a flying dragon. The remaining dragon soul source light was swiftly collected by the immortal realm great powers who had been pursuing them. These great powers, representing various major powers, possessed unfathomable cultivation levels. Observing Li Wei from beyond the luminous veil, they assumed the dragon soul source light had been drawn to the flying dragon's dragon soul sealed within the governor's robe. The transcendence of the Lingxiao realm human clan remained distant, and no one dared to storm Phoenix Stone Reef to seize the light. They soon departed. Damn, the governor's robe actually has such miraculous power. If I'd known, I would have activated mine earlier. The robe seals the dragon soul of a flying dragon, after all. On Phoenix Stone Reef, many martial mystic cultivators wearing governor's robes watched with envy and regret, nearly slapping their thighs raw. The great elder of the Thundercloud sect approached, clasping his hands with a smile. Little friend Li, I am Chen Jin of the Thundercloud sect. I witnessed you collecting a considerable amount of dragon soul source light, congratulations. I believe you can guess my purpose. I only broke through to immortal realm at the age of 140 and have little confidence in severing the second soul return shackle before my lifespan expires. Would you consider selling me a few clusters of dragon soul source light? The price is negotiable. Li Wei, naturally unwilling, was pondering how to politely refuse. Elder Patriarch Kai Li stepped forward. Old Chen, there are only a dozen or so clusters of dragon soul source light. Even if the Divine Hidden One had enough for himself, he would undoubtedly sell them to the Zhu Li clan first. Exactly. This kind of thing is priceless, Patriarch Qi Li added. I'd like to purchase a cluster myself for cultivation. The great elder of the Thundercloud sect chuckled. Little friend Li is a wind mansion Dao seed. Never mind, let's not dwell on that. My apologies for the intrusion. A wind mansion Dao seed breaking through to immortal realm existed only in legends, no such case had ever been recorded in reality. Elder Patriarch Kai Li watched the great elder of the Thundercloud sect depart, then telepathically warned Li Wei, now that everyone knows you've collected over a dozen dragon soul source lights, you must be extremely cautious. Never underestimate the immortal realm martial mystic cultivators' hunger for advancement. Breaking through a realm grants 60 years of lifespan, equivalent to living an entire extra lifetime. Li Wei nodded in acknowledgement. What evil fiend dares to trespass? A thunderous roar, 10 times louder than a thunderclap, erupted from the giant warship in the heavenly vault. The sonic wave crashed down like a tidal surge, sending scores of young martial mystic cultivators on the 9 islands below sprawling to the ground. As everyone reeled in confusion, a massive black pillar-like shadow slashed across the sky from east to west through the clouds. It pierced through the cloud cover and hurtled straight toward the Rice Palace giant warship. It was a spear. As thick as a millstone and as heavy as a collapsing mountain, its chi surged violently, shaking the surrounding hundreds of miles. A primordial great hand seal shot out from the warship to intercept the spear. Boom. The transcendent battle shook heaven and earth, its chi reverberating through the clouds as scripture fragments scattered like shooting stars. The seawater surged over the 9 islands, rushing toward the withered sea area at their center. The giant warship in the heavenly vault trembled violently. The scripture chains connecting it to the ancient immortal dragon remains, which hung from the chains, plunged downward with tremendous force. Boom. The ancient immortal dragon remains crashed into the seabed, shattering the entire underwater realm. The immortal spring, which had been suspended in midair, instantly transformed into a blood spring. Even the mirage scene of the phoenix tree turned ashen, its vibrant colors fading into a dull gray. All immortal chi, golden mist, and auspicious omens vanished, replaced by ominous signs and a chilling yin chi. From the giant warship in the heavenly vault, a humanoid figure spoke in a raspy, ancient voice, his tone icy. You undead monsters have actually come. Since you seek death, we shall obliterate you first. The 5 ghost kings of the 7 vengeful plains have arrived, the Thundercloud sect leader said. The 7 vengeful plains bordered the Eastern Territory, Northern Territory, and East Sea, spanning tens of thousands of miles and encompassing 100 of the original 272 provinces of the Lingxiao realm. The 5 great ghost kings ruled the 7 vengeful plains, each possessing immense supernatural powers and commanding awe throughout the Lingxiao realm and East Sea. The transcendence of the human and demon races had clashed with them for millennia, their strengths and weaknesses mutually understood. Impudence. The Nether Flood Dragon King transformed into his true form, a jet-black flood dragon, and unleashed a deafening roar. His dragon claws clawed through the clouds as he surged toward the heavenly vault. His massive dragon body soared above the phoenix tree mirage, triggering a dramatic shift in the celestial phenomenon. Torrential rain lashed down, accompanied by a bone-chilling wind. The Nether Flood Dragon King considered himself the lord of the Eastern Sea. He had agreed to excavate the ancient immortal dragon remains, hoping to seize this opportunity to break through to the martial mystic Dao Heavenly Emperor realm and complete his dragon transformation. Anyone who dared interfere would face death. Yet as he soared into the sky, the Nether Flood Dragon King swiftly regained his composure. He saw that the surrounding 1,000-mile radius was shrouded in a dark, ominous mist. From within the darkness emanated terrifying qi, revealing that the invaders were not merely the 5 great ghost kings of the 7 vengeful plains. 800 miles away, a scarlet flood dragon corpse floated on the sea's surface, its head severed, the surrounding waters stained crimson with blood. This was the Crimson Flood Dragon King, whom the Nether Flood Dragon King had stationed along the coast to guard the Nether Realm of the dead. He had been silently and swiftly slain. This demonstrated the Nether Realm's overwhelming force and meticulous preparation. They knew their enemy well, and this was no impulsive act. Ha ha ha. The excavation of the ancient immortal dragon remains is a monumental event that will inevitably disrupt the balance of power among the surrounding forces. Since you failed to notify us in advance, we had no choice but to arrive uninvited, Piao Kan, the hungry ghost, one of the 5 great ghost kings, declared as his withered, skeletal form materialized above the sea. He had manifested a tangible ghost body, his upper torso bare, his abdomen sunken, ribs starkly visible, and beneath his feet swirled a 100-mile-wide vortex of seawater. The Nether Flood Dragon King emerged from the clouds, its mountain-sized, ferocious head looming into view, thunder and lightning crackling from its jaws. Who killed the Crimson Flood Dragon King? It roared. I did. A colossal figure stepped forward from the darkness. Half of the giant's body remained submerged, while the other half towered above the waves. He wore a purple robe embroidered with Dao patterns, and his long hair cascaded down like an immortal waterfall. It was a bizarre sight, a humanoid form of terrifying scale. Thick corpse energy emanated from his body, and his facial features were decayed beyond recognition, as if he were a faceless being. As he emerged from the darkness, the corpse energy surged across the sea, engulfing the 9 dragon-locking pillars. Immediately, the calamities surrounding the ancient immortal dragon remains intensified, and bloody springs erupted ceaselessly from the seabed. The iron chains binding the dragon's remains trembled violently, and wisps of gray mist seeped from between its scales, eerily reminiscent of the legendary corpse transformation. Even the Transcendents felt their hearts pound with dread. So the giant spirit corpse king has descended upon the East Sea. Everyone, prepare for battle. The cave ruins ghost city has mobilized, drive them back. The giant spirit corpse king held immense renown within the Nether Realm of the dead. Legend claimed it was a new spirit born from an ancient immortal giant, slumbering eternally in the sea of corpses, obeying only the commands of the cave ruins ghost city. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 5. Seeking Immortality in the Eastern Sea. Volume 5 Pinyin Donghai Xuan Xian. Chapter 70 507 Entering the Underground. 70th of Volume 5. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. The ancient immortal dragon remains showed signs of re-emergence. The Calamity Crossing Temple, Rice Palace, Nether Flood Dragon King, and Jellyfish Ancestor, all the powerful figures, acted with utmost caution, devising a strategy. First, engage in battle, then begin the excavation. The Jellyfish Ancestor used a supreme spiritual artifact to suppress the ancient immortal dragon remains back into the depths of the earth. Whoosh! Whoosh! Transcendent figures surged skyward from the parched seabed, charging toward the giant corpse king in the endless darkness. Some transcendent waved their sleeves, sweeping up the ships in the surrounding sea and hurling them toward the desiccated area encircled by the 9 dragon-locking pillars, to prevent them from being annihilated in the impending clash. Everyone, take refuge in the underground first. Don't panic, the sky isn't falling. These undead powerhouses are here for the ancient immortal dragon remains. We just need to repel them. The sect leader of the Thundercloud sect flew over Phoenix Stone Reef, shouting these words. Among the transcendent of the human clan who had come to the East Sea from the Lingxiao realm, he possessed the highest cultivation. Zuoqiu Hongting immediately approached Li Wei, the ancestor instructed us to head south after going underground. Don't gather together, spread out as much as possible. What does that mean? Li Wei asked, puzzled. Xuanhuan Hongting explained, the underworld is also dangerous. Traveling in a group makes us too conspicuous, risking total annihilation. Let's stick together, we can watch each other's backs. The martial mystic cultivators of the Zhu tribe and the Xuanhuan clan's faction had long since assembled. They immediately charged out of Phoenix Stone Reef and plunged into the seabed riddled with fissures. Martial mystic cultivators and demonic beasts from the other 8 islet reefs also desperately burrowed underground. With the transcendent war erupting, none of the 9 islet reefs remained safe, and they could crumble at any moment. Those who had reached the 9-ring reef, whether gathered on the 9 islet reefs or among the survivors from the crashed ships above, were all formidable individuals capable of holding their own. Few martial mystic cultivators were below the Dao Seed realm. Li Wei carried Yuer on his back, then released spiritual chi to envelop Yaoyan and hid in 24. Together, they leapt into the chasm with the rest of the group. During the descent, he sealed Yaoyan and hid in 24 with 2 precise finger strikes, then slipped black cloth bags over their heads to block their senses before storing them in the blood mud space. The situation was too perilous, and their cultivation levels were too low. This was the safest course of action. Once underground, Li Wei wasn't certain if he could still access the blood mud space. Xuanhuan Hongting glanced at him curiously. Aren't you going to protect Yuer too? Yuer clung to Li Wei's back, her hands still clutching the treasure box tightly. Her lips were pressed into a thin line, her expression tense. Li Wei hesitated for a moment before reaching out to the treasure box, intending to store it in his blood mud space. But the instant his fingers touched the box, a terrifying chill surged through him, spreading from his fingertips to his entire body. White frost crystallized on his skin. His entire arm instantly went numb, as if frozen into ice. Fortunately, Yuer vigorously rubbed the treasure box with both hands, shattering the ice crystals. This allowed Li Wei to withdraw his fingers. He immediately circulated the 7-clawed flame heavenly dragon chi from his wind mansion, channeling it repeatedly into his arm until the frozen limb regained its warmth. Here, master, I'll give it to you, Yuer said, handing the box to Li Wei after rubbing away all the ice crystals. Keep it away from me, Li Wei warned, holding his breath, this thing is cursed and counteracts my energy. Don't let it touch me. Since the emergence of the ancient immortal dragon remains, the pearl inside the box had grown increasingly frigid, now too cold to even touch. Oh. Yuer quickly moved the treasure box away, holding it with one hand and tucking her wrist behind her back. She realized she could control it with just one hand after all. Xuanhuan Hongting still found Li Wei strange and incomprehensible. She shifted her form and features to resemble Lu Fengshu, the phoenix tree, and retrieved her peachwood staff. Boom. Boom. The group landed one after another, simultaneously releasing their Dao heart manifestations to cushion their descent. They then scattered and fled. The underground space here resembled the one Li Wei and Wu Hongling had previously infiltrated. The rocky dome above soared thousands of feet high, constantly shedding fragments of stone. The immortal realm giants had already fled, understanding the dangers of transcendent combat far better than Dao Seed realm martial mystic cultivators. The intrusion of even a single transcendent from the nether realm of the dead would spell certain doom. The farther they fled, the greater their chances of survival. Few immortal realm giants had dared to gather here in the first place, most were scattered throughout the underground caverns, exploring. The ancient immortal dragon remains had crashed down dozens of miles away, resembling a golden mountain range. The impact had shattered the earth into countless fissures. The radiant light and intense heat emanating from the remains made the ground scorching hot, while immortal light and gray mist billowed outward. Even a distant glance at the remains sent shivers down Li Wei's spine, compelling him to retreat. Yet several figures were charging toward it, already locked in fierce combat. It's Lu Yi, Xuanhuan Hongting said. Li Wei saw him too, and noticed a fragmented dragon city mirage near the dragon's tail. Within it bloomed an immortal herb, radiating a 3-colored glow. Go on ahead. Lu Yi has helped me many times. I need to lend him a hand. Li Wei, wielding the yellow dragon sword, charged toward the 4 figures locked in fierce combat, each stride covering dozens of meters. Lu Yi was battling 3 demonic beasts. They were in their half-flood dragon forms, each creature's serpentine body stretching over 30 meters. Their cultivation was formidable, and their strength was immeasurable. Whoosh! Even from 100 meters away, Li Wei unleashed a crescent-shaped arc of sword chi. The sword chi sent the 3 demonic beasts flying, shattering their scales and spilling blood across the ground. Unwilling to fight near the ancient immortal dragon remains for fear of provoking the strange, Li Wei roared, "Get lost." Fine, we'll get lost. Realizing they couldn't defeat Li Wei, the demonic beasts abandoned their pursuit of immortal herb and fled. As they retreated, one of the beasts snarled, "Immortal herb won't be so easy to claim. We'll see about that. Li Wei, your alliance with Princess Dengfeng has made you an enemy of the Flood Dragon clan. Hurry and gather it. We need to leave this place immediately," Li Wei urged. Thank you, Lu Yi said, rushing into the Dragon City Mirage toward Immortal Herb. Immortal Herb held a fatal allure for any Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivator. He's right, Immortal Herb won't be so easy to claim. Fu Wenyan's voice boomed from above, each word ringing with Dao technique power. Clad in azure clouds, his spiritual chi condensed to an extraordinary density as he descended through a fissure in the rocky ceiling. Whoosh! The 7-foot-long bronze brush in his hand slashed downward with tremendous force, sending over 8,000 scriptures and brush hairs flying forth, transforming into a long, white river. Li Wei sensed an extraordinary aura emanating from Fu Wenyan. The bronze brush's power far surpassed its previous capabilities, its strikes as unpredictable as 1,000 swords raining down. In terms of pure spiritual chi refinement, Fu Wenyan surpassed even Sheng Wulian and Si Wuyan. This was the advantage gained from years of cultivating the Great Earth Origin Essence Manual. Li Wei raised his palm to the sky, conjuring a mirror light shield seal several meters in diameter. Its radiant light blocked the bronze brush's attack. This was the Universal Sage's Mirror Reflection, one of the Chan sect's 12 dispersed hands techniques. Like a Dao technique, it formed a mirror light domain to protect his body. Boom. Fearless and unwavering, Fu Wenyan stepped onto the mirror light shield seal, his feet resting on azure clouds. Instantly, the ground beneath Li Wei's feet sank, dust billowing into the air as if a mountain had crashed down upon him. This was another profound technique from the Earth Book, manifesting the weight of mountains upon his body. You've reached the 9th heaven. Li Wei asked, his hand resting on the mirror-like imprint on his chest, his voice tinged with surprise. Fu Wenyan was even more astonished. As the young heavenly emperor, he should have been invincible below the immortal realm once he reached the 9th heaven. Yet he couldn't break through Li Wei's Dao technique. Yi Kang didn't die in vain. You've indeed grown stronger. But today, we settle this with life or death. Fu Wenyan unleashed his Dao heart manifestation, channeling even greater power to suppress Li Wei from above. This place is too dangerous. Shall we move to a safer location for our battle? Li Wei suggested, his eyes dark and serious. He wanted to settle their feud, but not here, not now. Li Wei is carrying a little girl on his back. He's holding back, using 30% of his strength to protect her. That's why he's suggesting a change of location. We can't let him have his way. 3 against 1, the advantage is ours. Let's finish this quickly. We must kill Li Wei before that person returns with the eternal life. Meng Huolong and Fu Bawu of the Zhongsheng Academy flanked Li Wei, launching a coordinated attack while Fu Wenyan pinned him down from above, aiming to end his life in a single strike. Very well. Li Wei sighed helplessly, lightning crackling from the wind mansion point at the back of his head. The purple heaven thunder seal shot forth, sending Fu Wenyan, who had been hovering above, flying backward. In the next instant, Li Wei slashed his sword at Meng Huolong and struck Fu Bawu with a palm. Boom. Facing 2 opponents simultaneously, he sent both of them staggering back. This single exchange made all 3 realize something was wrong. Normally, with their combined strength, they could suppress even powerhouses at the level of Sheng Wulian and Si Wuyan. Yet Li Wei gave them an overwhelming sense of invincibility, an eerie feeling as if they were facing a giant of the immortal realm. Giving them no time to react or think, Li Wei executed the clear void steps, instantly appearing before Meng Huolong. Meng Huolong, a top chief disciple, immediately unleashed the phantoms of the 72 sages and unleashed the 4th-level great technique, the dragon seizing hand. His hands and arms glowed with a metallic sheen, his physical body cultivation reaching an extraordinary level. Bang! Li Wei's sword sent Meng Huolong flying dozens of meters away, the phantoms of the 72 sages shattering like bubbles. Meng Huolong's Dao technique was cleaved apart by a single strike, leaving a deep gash across his arms. His eyes widened in terror as Li Wei's sword descended again. You've earned the right to bear the Meng clan's name by enduring one strike. Li Wei slashed diagonally downward, the yellow light erupting from the yellow dragon sword tearing through the defensive talismans released by Meng Huolong's Confucian robes and descending toward his neck. Clang! A bronze brush shot forward, blocking the yellow dragon sword's blade. Meng Huolong immediately activated the swimming dragon body technique, transforming into a serpentine phantom as he tumbled away in utter disarray. Boom! The yellow dragon sword slammed the bronze brush downward, driving it into the ground. Fu Wenyan felt an agonizing pain in his hands, as if his fingers were about to snap. The bronze brush nearly slipped from his grasp, and his heart sank to the depths of despair. He was overwhelmed by an unprecedented sense of helplessness, having never imagined encountering such an invincible foe in the Dao Seed realm. Something's wrong. We need to retreat, Fu Wenyan said decisively, his voice calm despite his inner turmoil. Retreat? Where do you think you're going? Zuoqiu Hongting, disguised as the Lu Fengshu, strode forward, twirling a peachwood staff in her hand. A sea of talismanic runes and pink peach petals swirled around her. Fu Wenyan saw Lu Yi, having already harvested immortal herb, burst forth from the Dragon City mirage. Junior sister Hongting, spare us this time. Fu Wenyan will never forget this debt, he pleaded urgently. You recognized me. Then I can't let you leave even more. Zuoqiu Hongting had been concealing her psychic power cultivation, hence her disguise as the Lu Fengshu to deceive onlookers. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 5. Seeking Immortality in the Eastern Sea. Volume 5 Pinyin Donghai Xuan Xian. Chapter 71 508 Unleashing All Trump Cards. 71st of Volume 5. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. Li Weiyi's secret identity as Lu Fengshu had been exposed. Moreover, Zuoqiu Hongting's mastery of the transformation technique in the presence of a supreme artifact, a remnant lamp, within the spirit realm between her eyebrows were common knowledge. It was a simple deduction to conclude that the Lu Fengshu before them was her, not some other entity. Li Weiyi must have cultivated the immortal body through the great immortal technique. His combat prowess now rivals that of immortal realm great powers. We must retreat immediately. Since Zuoqiu Hongting is blocking our path, we'll crush her. I refuse to believe she's also cultivated the immortal body. Fu Wenyan had clashed with Li Weiyi multiple times, gaining deep insight into his cunning and ruthlessness. Now that Li Weiyi's power had surged dramatically, he had become an even greater threat. Fu Wenyan secretly resolved that after leaving the East Sea, he would summon an immortal realm expert from his clan to cross the Nether Realm and ascend to Lingxiao, assassinating this potential enemy to eliminate future troubles. He bitterly regretted underestimating his foe. Boom. Fu Wenyan's cultivation was extraordinary. Wielding the bronze brush, its bristles crafted from the hair of transcendence, each strand pulsed with unique energy, sharp as a blade. The brush danced through the air, its strokes obliterating Zuoqiu Hongting's runes across 100 jong radius, showcasing the majesty befitting a young celestial emperor of the ninth heaven. Even the most legendary 9-star spiritual master would find it nearly impossible to defeat a young celestial emperor of the same realm. Wielding the 8th grade Thousand Inscriptions artifact, Fu Wenyan radiated overwhelming power. Scriptures and the artifact's radiant light enveloped his body, each strike capable of cleaving mountains and shattering the void. Had he not suffered a setback against Li Weiyi earlier, his confidence would have been even greater. Zuoqiu Hongting retreated steadily, protected by her spiritual light. Whoosh! She slammed her peachwood staff into the ground, focusing spiritual light from the spirit realm between her eyebrows onto it. The staff rooted itself, sprouted branches, and rapidly grew into a towering peach tree, dozens of jong tall. Zuoqiu Hongting struck the tree trunk with her palm. Petals fluttered down like snow, coalescing into a pink river that surged outward. If she could hold Fu Wenyan at bay for even a moment longer, completing the encirclement, the 3 great masters of Zhongsheng Academy would have no escape. Roar! Fu Wenyan channeled all his spiritual qi into the governor's robe. Instantly, a colossal dragon soul materialized from the dragon-shaped patch on his chest, unleashing an overwhelming aura of power. Its claws slammed into the ground, sending rubble flying and the earth trembling. With Fu Wenyan's spiritual qi, nearly at the peak below the immortal realm, the dragon soul's combat power surpassed even his own. With the dragon soul imbued in his governor's robe, Fu Wenyan believed that he and his dragon could face any opponent below the immortal realm, including Sheng Wulian and Si Wuyan. Behind them, Meng Huolong covered their retreat, blocking Li Weiyi's pursuit. From Meng Huolong's ancestral field, a torrent of spiritual qi erupted, launching a jet-black inkstone that rapidly expanded to 3 feet in diameter before slamming into Li Weiyi. This ancient inkstone was no ordinary artifact. For centuries, it had been wielded by a transcendent of the Confucian Tao. Nurtured by the transcendent spiritual qi and willpower, it had spontaneously generated scripture within its core, transforming into an innate treasure. The scripture wasn't carved into the stone, it had manifested naturally. Sensing the transcendent willpower emanating from the inkstone and its influence on his mental consciousness, Li Weiyi found himself trapped in an illusion realm filled with swirling text and images. He channeled all his power into the yellow dragon sword. The sword unleashed a resounding dragon's roar that shattered the faint transcendent willpower within the inkstone. 9 ancient characters from the 6-Jaw secret incantation materialized on the sword's blade. Instantly, the sword's power surged, bathing heaven and earth in golden light. With a single strike, Li Weiyi cleaved the incoming 3-foot inkstone in half, causing it to explode. Maiguan clan inkstone. Meng Huolong's heart bled. This treasure, capable of unlocking insights into the great Tao of the Confucian Tao Transcendent, could have fetched a sky-high price at Zhongsheng Academy. Now it was utterly destroyed. Why? Why couldn't even the transcendent willpower suppress him? Realizing Zuoqiu Hongting was in dire straits, Li Weiyi ignored Meng Huolong. Stepping onto the illusory form of the yellow dragon, he soared into the air and charged toward Fu Wenyan, who stood at the forefront. Roar! Even before his figure had fully risen into the air, a dragon soul erupted from the patch on his governor's robe. The 100-meter-long serpentine entity coiled downward, its clawed hand striking Fu Bawu, who had been shielding Fu Wenyan from behind, sending him flying. Sensing the danger approaching from behind, Fu Wenyan sidestepped to the right, evading the dragon soul. He swung his bronze brush in a swift, slashing motion. A river of white brush hairs collided with the yellow dragon sword chi that followed closely behind the dragon soul. Boom! Scriptures and sword chi exploded outward in concentric rings. Fu Wenyan staggered backward, his internal spiritual chi disrupted. He roared, "Bawu, use the scriptures and spiritual chi great immortal grandpa gave you. If we don't use them now, we're all going to die here." Fu Bawu, who had been sent flying by the dragon soul, flipped to his feet. He let out a deafening tiger's roar. From his ancestral field, a radiant thousand inscriptions manual emerged, its characters aligning into a coherent text, a wall of light that blocked the dragon soul's second attack. Boom! The thousand inscriptions classic trembled, unleashing a counter force that repelled the dragon soul. Each character was a scripture cultivated by great immortal himself, arranged by a single breath of his spiritual chi. Any superior chief-level heavenly pride in the Dao Seed realm held significant weight for any faction. It was unthinkable to let them swim naked in danger while competing for opportunities. Unless they were rogue cultivators without any backing. Li Wei, we all have life-saving powers bestowed by our elders. Are you prepared for mutual destruction if you try to kill us? Fu Wenyan moved to Fu Bao's side, his gaze locked on Li Wei across the thousand inscriptions manual. Meng Hualong joined the two. Lu Yi positioned herself at a third point, maintaining distance from the thousand inscriptions manual, her halberd held ready. Yuer peeked out from above Li Wei's right shoulder, her head tilted in curiosity. Li Wei recalled the purple heaven thunder seal, which hovered above his head, rotating like a palace. First, you insisted on fighting. You lost, so you want to leave. The world doesn't work that way. Second, the Great Immortal's Thousand Inscriptions manual and a wisp of spiritual chi aren't the Great Immortal's full power. They don't scare me. Third, Fu Bawu, the life-saving power your founding ancestor gave you is meant for you to escape danger, not to stay and protect these two. Once that power is exhausted, how will you protect yourself? Li Wei calmly affixed the protective talisman to his chest. Using spiritual chi and willpower, he manipulated the purple heaven thunder suspended in midair. Instantly, dozens of bright purple lightning bolts snaked through the air, twisting and turning as they surged toward the trio, engulfing the thousand inscriptions classic. Having witnessed the transcendent scriptures and the transcendent spiritual chi within the Huoxin ancestral field, Li Wei could accurately assess the power Fu Bawu had unleashed. For defensive purposes, it could easily withstand over a dozen strikes from martial mystic cultivators in the first and second immortal realms. However, to kill enemies, it required an element of surprise. Even Li Wei, when using the Heaven Sword Talisman, always sought the optimal moment for deployment, rather than revealing it so openly. Boom! Boom! After enduring 6 or 7 attacks from the Purple Heaven Thunder Seal, Fu Bawu said, "Use the escape technique and get out of here now. Li Wei is too cunning. He used the myriad inscriptions artifacts lightning to shatter my willpower, obscuring my vision and preventing me from locking onto his position." Fu Wenyan formed a hand seal, releasing scripture from his Dao fruit. He activated a profound escape technique, enveloping the trio in azure cloud chi and transforming them into a streak of azure light that shot away. Boom! Zuoqiu Hongting intercepted their escape route, creating a 3-jong wide 8 trigrams formation seal that collided violently with Fu Wenyan's escape technique. The escape light shattered, sending the 3 members of Zhongsheng Academy tumbling backward. Zuoqiu Hongting fared no better, flying back over 60 meters and losing her transformation technique, reverting to her true form. She braced herself with one hand on the ground, blood trickling from the corner of her mouth, and looked at Li Wei. Must we kill him? Fu Wenyan possesses the Earth Tome, Li Wei transmitted telepathically, revealing this crucial information. Having deeply studied the Confucian Tao, Zuoqiu Hongting immediately understood the significance of the Earth Tome. Her exquisite eyes lit up with shock and excitement. How is that possible? Such a treasure. How could he possess it? Our founding ancestor searched his entire life and only found a single page, which he traded for half a stalk of Emperor herb. She abruptly stood up, her tall, straight figure radiating battle intent. Her fingers pressed against her temples. Sizzle. A scorching, eerie spiritual light erupted from the spirit realm between her eyebrows. A battered ancient lamp materialized deep within the spirit realm. Its light surged, and flame surged like a tidal wave toward the 3 members of the Zhongsheng Academy. The battered supreme artifact ancient lamp between Zuoqiu Hongting's spirit realm possesses extraordinary power, capable of incinerating all things. Unleash all your strength. Fu Wenyan commanded. Fu Bawu's hands manifested illusory tiger claws, unleashing the Thousand Inscriptions classic scripture and the great immortal's spiritual chi, which collided with the onrushing flames. Whoosh! Li Wei shifted his position repeatedly, arriving beside Xuanhuan Hongting and activating the final protective talisman given to him by the Hidden Lord. The talisman exploded into a cloud of talisman light, blocking the remaining force of the Thousand Inscriptions classic strike. Pursue them. We must retrieve the Earth Tome. No wonder Fu Wenyan's spiritual chi is so pure, even a demon child in the same realm couldn't match him, Xuanhuan Hongting exclaimed, her delicate face flushed with excitement. Light wings materialized on her back. Using her peachwood staff as a brush, she inscribed a 10-feet-long rune in the air and hurled it at the fleeing trio. The entire underground cavern had long been emptied of all life except for these few combatants. An eerie silence fell. Li Wei hurled the purple heaven thunder seal a mile away. Boom! The purple heaven thunder seal crashed down from the sky, as large as a house and as heavy as if forged from profound iron. It struck Fu Bawu, who had been the slowest to flee. How could he possibly withstand the power of a myriad inscriptions artifact? Fu Bawu's body collapsed limply, his bones shattering in dozens of places. He was reduced to a charred corpse. The ground cratered, collapsing into a massive thunder-scarred pit. Good, very good. Li Wei, Xuanhuan Hongting, I'll send you to your graves. Seizing the moment, Fu Wenyan's eyes narrowed. He whirled around, and a pre-prepared talisman shot forth from his ancestral field. It was the myriad beasts' purifying fire talisman. Borrowed from an exceptionally powerful holy spiritual master at the Calamity Crossing Temple after arriving in the East Sea, this talisman possessed immense power, capable of both saving lives and annihilating enemies. However, it had to be returned upon the conclusion of their East Sea expedition. Using the talisman would mean forfeiting his bronze painting brush as collateral. Fu Wenyan, a master of timing, waited until the three pursuers had converged before activating the talisman. Eliminating them would yield far greater gains than the cost of a single talisman. Ow! Roar! Ka! The myriad beasts' purifying fire talisman ignited mid-flight, transforming into a vast cloud of fire. From this fiery cloud surged colossal flame beasts and avian creatures, melting the ground beneath them and distorting the air with scorching heat. Li Wei and Lu Yi abruptly halted, sensing the imminent danger. They hadn't anticipated that Fu Wenyan, even after being relentlessly pursued by Yao Qian, still possessed such a formidable battle treasure. Leave this to me, Xuanhuan Hongting declared, stepping forward and unleashing a scroll from her sleeve. The scroll erupted with blinding radiance, clashing against the onrushing tide of flame beasts and avian creatures. After a tense stalemate lasting several breaths, both forces annihilated each other. Over 300 meters away, Fu Wenyan watched as the flames subsided, revealing the three figures unscathed. His face twisted with shock and agony, his entire body trembling violently. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 5. Seeking Immortality in the Eastern Sea. Volume 5 Pinyin Donghai Xuan Xian. Chapter 72 509 Viewers Power. 72nd of Volume 5. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. The Xuanhuan clan has a holy spiritual master. Killing them won't be easy. Let's go. As long as we're alive, we can always fight again. Meng Huolong activated his life-saving technique, the Sage's Ink Sea, enveloping Fu Wenyan in a black, ink-scented liquid. They transformed into a beam of black light and vanished instantly from Li Wei's group's sight. The calligraphy scroll Xuanhuan Hongting had used was written by Xuanhuan Ran for her in Li Wei's engagement ceremony. Li Wei's scroll had been consumed during the ceremony to defend against Elder Qin's assassination attempt. Xuanhuan Hongting had kept hers until now. She gazed at the fading black light disappearing into the depths of the underground space and sighed deeply. That was the Meng clan's Sage's Ink Sea. Combined with their escape technique, it's too fast for anyone below the Great Immortal Realm to stop. What a waste, a body protection talisman and a calligraphy scroll, all to kill just one Fu Bawu. Your protective treasures are priceless. Lu Yi said, I'm the one who dragged you into this. Let's split the three immortal petals equally, one for each of us. Xuanhuan Hongting's mood brightened instantly, and she smiled radiantly, you said it yourself. In the distance, wisps of gray mist seeped from the ancient immortal dragon remains, converging toward Fu Bawu's corpse at the bottom of the pit. The corpse was undergoing a strange transformation. Their escape technique can't last forever. Trying to escape isn't so easy. Li Wei said, patting his insect pouch. Feng poked its head out. Among the 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors, Feng's cultivation was a tier above the others, and it had already recovered. Remember their scent? Li Wei asked. Feng flew out of the pouch, sniffed the air, and transmitted its intent. Don't worry, they won't get far. Lu Yi frowned, feeling deeply uneasy. Do you sense anything wrong? I have a bone-chilling feeling. Li Wei grew alert, scanning their surroundings. They fled quickly. All the Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivators have already left. It's too quiet. We need to move too. The ancient immortal dragon remains have been disturbed by the ghost king of the nether realm of the dead and are showing signs of corpse transformation. Wait a moment. Li Wei activated his movement technique and dashed toward the massive crater a mile away, intending to retrieve Fu Bao's boundary pouch and Dao fruit. As he approached, his heart raced, an inexplicable dread creeping into his mind, causing him to unconsciously slow his pace. Master. I feel something's wrong. Yuer murmured, staring at the distant crater. They discovered wisps of thin gray mist spreading across the ground and seeping into the pit. Extremely uneasy and tense, she held the treasure box above her head like a stone. Not good. Li Wei immediately turned and fled, shouting, "Run!" Corpse transformation. This time, it was Li Wei's turn to regret his actions. He should have known better than to fight and kill near the ancient immortal dragon remains. Earlier, ominous signs had already appeared. The immortal spring had turned into a blood spring. Roar. A deep, guttural roar echoed from behind. The corpse at the bottom of the pit leapt out, shaking the earth with its impact. Fu Bao had absorbed the gray corpse mist from the ancient immortal dragon remains, transforming into a 5 to 6 meter tall dragon corpse. Its body was covered in gray scales, its hands and feet twisted into razor-sharp claws, and its eyes glowed like blood-red lanterns. Its aura was more than 10 times more terrifying than when it was alive, resembling a corpse spirit lord. Xuanhuan Hongting and Lu Yi, standing a mile away, were nearly knocked off their feet by the shockwave. They sensed the dragon corpse's intense hostility and overwhelming malice. Activate the 10,000-mile divine travel talisman immediately. Xuanhuan Hongting couldn't remain calm. She pressed her fingers to her temples, channeling all her energy to activate the primordial lamp's power. The dragon corpse charged forward, instantly closing the distance to Li Wei. Yuer, clinging to Li Wei's back in a state of extreme tension, screamed as the dragon corpse suddenly lunged out. Startled, she hurled the treasure box from her hands. Boom. The dragon corpse shattered into pieces, dissolving into a cloud of black blood mist. The treasure box pierced through the corpse and slammed into the ground, carving a massive ravine over 3 miles long. The ravine, more than 10 meters deep, pulverized iron-hard rock, piling the debris into a small mountain at its end. The treasure box lay shattered. A luminous blue pearl was embedded beneath the small mountain at the ravine's end. Sensing the commotion behind him, Li Wei froze, stiffly turning to stare in disbelief at the terrifying chasm. I'm sorry, Master. I didn't know the pearl was so powerful. I'll go retrieve it. Yuer had overheard them mentioning a body protection talisman earlier, secretly assuming it was the one her master had given her. Something so powerful couldn't be lost. Besides, the dragon corpse was gone now, so she had nothing to fear. Hey, don't. Li Wei's warning died in his throat, stunned. The moment Yuer slid off his back, she vanished, reappearing miles away. She crouched down, digging the blue pearl from its rocky embedding. How could she be so fast? Does she even realize how quickly she's moving? Li Wei's eyelids narrowed as he watched intently. He noticed that the golden immortal energy radiating from the ancient immortal dragon remains was rapidly flowing into the ground, converging into the blue pearl. Li Wei held his breath, clenching his fist so tightly his heart seemed to stop beating. If Yuer hadn't been there, still digging away, he would have fled immediately. Yuer returned, cradling the blue pearl in her hands, her face beaming with joy. Master, it's not freezing anymore. Not even a little bit. This time, her speed was normal. Li Wei glanced back at the mountain-sized ancient immortal dragon remains in the distance. The golden immortal energy on its scales had dimmed by more than half. Forcing himself to remain calm, he rushed forward, scooped up the beaming Yuer, and fled. Yuer, how did you get over there so quickly? Crossing several miles in an instant was utterly bizarre. I just ran, Master. Didn't you see me? Yuer replied, completely oblivious, her voice filled with genuine confusion. Li Wei didn't press further, knowing the Grand Palace Master's mental state was unstable. As he passed Xuanhuan Hongting and Lu Yi, he called out, hurry up. I'll explain later. Xuanhuan Hongting and Lu Yi were too stunned to speak. Yuer's bizarre state earlier had been utterly inhuman, her speed was terrifying, her strength monstrous, yet she seemed completely oblivious to it. After a long silence. Boom. A middle-aged man, a transcendent cultivator, descended from above, appearing beside the 3-mile-long chasm. No spiritual power fluctuations. This was all done with physical strength. He murmured in astonishment. The rock formations here were different from those outside. Achieving such destructive force in this terrain would be no easy feat. The man stared at the fading glow of the ancient immortal dragon remains and muttered to himself, such formidable methods. In such a short time, most of the dragon remains' power has been drained. Which divine being is hiding among those Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivators? He dared not pursue, his heart filled with apprehension. 2 hours later, Li Wei, Zhuoqiu Hongting, and Lu Yi, guided by Feng, had pursued their quarry southward for over 500 miles. The terrain transformed into tricolored spiritual soil dotted with rolling hills. Meng Huolong, having exhausted much of his spiritual qi using his escape technique, was swiftly defeated upon engaging the trio. PFF'd. Li Wei gave him no chance to unleash the sage's ink sea again, slicing off his head with a single sword stroke. A 7-meter-high fountain of blood erupted from the severed neck. Fu Wenyan, showing no desire to prolong the fight, activated his escape technique and fled through the trio's encirclement. 15 minutes later, Li Wei and his companions had closed the gap, catching up with him 400 miles away. Realizing that their group included a tracking expert and that escape was impossible, Fu Wenyan roared, "I am Fu Wenyan, the young heavenly emperor of the Calamity Crossing Temple. I am being hunted by Li Wei and Zhuoqiu Hongting. Are there any Immortal Realm seniors from the Calamity Crossing Temple nearby?" His voice carried far. Even if no Immortal Realm giants from the Calamity Crossing Temple were within earshot, anyone who heard his words would know who had killed him should he perish. This might deter Li Wei and Zhuoqiu Hongting from pressing their attack, fearing the temple's retribution. Zhuoqiu Hongting, a master of the disguise technique, was naturally skilled in voice alteration as well. She didn't join the battle, knowing Li Wei could handle it alone. Standing on a blue stone, she observed the surroundings before mimicking Fu Wenyan's voice and shouting, "I am Fu Wenyan, the young heavenly emperor of the Calamity Crossing Temple. I am being pursued by the Chengyu Jian. Are there any Immortal Realm seniors from the Calamity Crossing Temple nearby?" Immediately afterward, the pursuers transformed into Sheng Wulian, Si Wuyan, Princess Dengfeng, by Yeqing. Fu Wenyan, his rage boiling over, summoned 2 pages of the Earth Book, one for offense and one for defense. He fought with all his might against Li Wei's relentless, storm-like attacks, his body accumulating more and more wounds. Every time he tried to escape, Lu Yi intercepted him. "It really is the Earth Book," Zhuoqiu Hongting murmured, drawing a immobilization talisman and hurling it like a throwing knife. Fu Wenyan swiftly dodged the talisman, but he couldn't evade the purple heaven thunder seal. With a thunderous crash, the seal struck the crown of his head, instantly shattering his skull and spine. His body collapsed into a bloody pulp. Li Wei let out a long breath, secretly admiring Fu Wenyan's skill at escaping with his life. He gathered the corpses and spoils into his boundary pouch, then retrieved the Wind Thunder banner, summoning a hurricane to scatter their lingering traces. Only then did he swiftly flee the scene. The shouts of Fu Wenyan and Zhuoqiu Hongting had already attracted nearby martial mystic cultivators. After traveling hundreds of miles south at top speed, Li Wei, seeing no powerful pursuers, retrieved his boundary pouch and began dividing the spoils. Zhuoqiu Hongting, ever cautious, set up a concealment formations around them, fearing they might be targeted by a Immortal Realm giant. The underground spaces beneath the East Sea were no place for Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivators. With bad luck, they could easily encounter a malevolent great immortal cultivator. Fu Wenyan's governor's official robe and Meng Huolong's sage's ink sea were given to Lu Yi. The Earth Book was split between Li Wei and Zhuoqiu Hongting, each receiving 1 page. Li Wei temporarily kept Fu Wenyan's 8th grade 1000 inscriptions artifact, the bronze brush. However, he handed the immortal petal Lu Yi offered him to Zhuoqiu Hongting as compensation. With this, Zhuoqiu Hongting had now collected all 3 immortal petals. Li Wei's expression turned solemn. The members of the Zhongsheng Academy are all heaven's chosen. Their complete annihilation will undoubtedly cause a major upheaval. If this comes to light, they'll pin everything on me. After all, I killed Yi Baiyu and Yi Kang anyway. What's one more crime when I'm already drowning in them? If you're going to talk like that, there's no point in being friends. Lu Yi retorted, pulling on his governor's official robe, "We killed them together and shared the spoils. If things go south, we'll face the consequences together." Zhuoqiu Hongting kept a close eye on Yuer, secretly worried that she might be an ancient demon with a childlike facade, fearing Li Wei had long been under her control. Yet something didn't quite add up. Having known Yuer for some time, Zhuoqiu Hongting could sense her genuine innocence and kindness. Yuer sat nearby, idly playing with a blue bead. Noticing the strange looks Zhuoqiu Hongting and Lu Yi were giving her, she turned to Li Wei. "Master, I have a secret I've been wanting to tell you. And so many questions I want to ask. Master, look at me. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 5. Seeking Immortality in the Eastern Sea. Volume 5 Pinyin Donghai Xuan Xian. Chapter 73 510 The Qingyan Azure Cloud Realm. 73rd of Volume 5. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. The underground space was dark and frigid. Li Wei strode ahead, his tall, upright figure leading the way, with Yu following behind. The two figures, one large and one small, ascended a low hill about 60 or 70 meters high. There was no vegetation here, the rocks were hard, and only a small amount of spiritual soil filled the crevices. This spiritual soil emitted a faint glow, possessing only about 30% of the spiritual energy of true spiritual soil, making it what could be called barren spiritual soil. Yet even this was twice the spiritual energy of the soil in the Cloud Heaven Immortal Plane. The soil in the Cloud Heaven Immortal Plane had suffered severe spiritual energy depletion, not even qualifying as barren spiritual soil. If medicinal fields were cultivated here on a large scale, and medicinal herbs were planted, within 1,000 years, it could sustain an ancient sect. After several millennia, it might even give rise to an ancient myriad clan or an ancient myriad sect. Li Wei stood at the summit of the low hill, gazing southward. The hills rolled like waves, stretching endlessly into the distance. Below the hill, Zuoqiu Hongting was studying the earth tome, while Lu Yi was attempting to activate the sage's ink sea. Li Wei released a psychic field 10 meters in radius, mentally prepared to confront her. Tell me, he said. Yu looked up at Li Wei's sharply defined, handsome profile, as if carved by a blade. She could sense his seriousness and solemnity, his deep gaze seemed to be bracing for an impending storm. She realized the situation might be more serious than she had imagined, and she hesitated to ask, fearing that the truth would shatter her current reality. Children naturally fear sudden changes in their environment. Ultimately, her pursuit of truth overcame her anxiety. She whispered, Master, I've noticed my strength is extraordinary, unlike that of a normal person. Am I even human? Yes, of course you're human, Li Wei replied. Yu had been waiting for him to elaborate. When he fell silent, she quickly pressed, Aren't you curious about how strong I really am? What's there to be curious about? I just witnessed it. How strong? Li Wei asked. Yu snatched the yellow dragon sword from his hand. Gripping the hilt with one hand, she pinched the tip between two fingers of her other hand and tried to bend it in half. Instead of snapping as expected, the sword arched into a massive curve. The blade trembled, the air vibrated, and a terrifying force gathered, like a drawn bowstring. Her action startled Li Wei. Terrified she might break the Chan sect's ancestral sword, he frantically tried to stop her. What are you doing? Put it down. Slowly straighten it back out. Once the yellow dragon sword had fully recovered, Li Wei snatched it back and immediately stored it in his wind mansion. That doesn't count. Yu protested, reaching for the 8th grade 1000 inscriptions artifact bronze brush. This brush was priceless. Li Wei planned to sell it to purchase essence herbs for his 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors to break through to the immortal realm. He couldn't allow her to mess with it. Yu, I've known about your immense physical strength for a long time. You don't need to prove it again, Li Wei quickly reassured her, seizing the opportunity to store the bronze brush in his wind mansion as well. Yu furrowed her brow, utterly perplexed. Master, why didn't you tell me sooner? If you had, I could have helped during those dangerous times. Li Wei realized the Grand Palace Mistress's memories hadn't returned at all. In her current state, revealing the truth would only increase the risks. Even if she believed him, it would serve no purpose. Do you think you can control this power? Li Wei asked gently. What do you mean by control, Master? Yu replied. Do you understand how strong your palm strikes are? Do you know how to wield your power without harming yourself or innocent bystanders? Li Wei pressed. Yu suddenly understood, nodding, I've been so careful lately, trying to avoid accidents and destruction. Master, how can I control my power? This question stumped Li Wei. He replied, learning is a gradual process, requiring growth through practice. When you unleash your immense strength, do you sense any changes in your body? Yu tilted her head, thinking, it feels like I get hotter, and my blood seems to flow faster. The more I want to crush something, the hotter my fingers become, like they're about to burn. Then for now, focus on preventing yourself from entering that state. Li Wei gasped inwardly, relieved he hadn't let her tense up while carrying her on his back, lest she accidentally snap his neck. After a moment's thought, he added, Yu, your identity is extraordinary. You must conceal yourself, hide your power, and never reveal it unless absolutely necessary. Tell no one. Yu nodded in agreement, then asked, Master, who am I really? Why do I possess such strange strength? I'll tell you when you're older, Li Wei promised. Yu's heart was finally at peace, her relief and joy radiating from her face. She sighed contentedly and exclaimed, I was so worried that I wasn't human, terrified I might be a demon or one of those immortal corpses they talk about. But now I know, Yu is human. Master, you weren't lying to me, were you? The terms, demon beast, and immortal corpse, had caught her ear during discussions among martial cultivators about Lu Fengshu's physical body. How could I ever lie to you? Li Wei chuckled wryly, don't burden yourself with such worries at your age. If anything troubles you, anything at all, tell Master immediately. Whether it's an awakening, a forgotten memory resurfacing, or something strange within your body. Yuer held up the blue pearl. Is this a protective treasure? Li Wei reached out a finger, then hesitated and withdrew it. Keep it safe for now. Don't show it off. Alright. Now Yuer has a spiritual artifact to protect herself in danger. Master, you don't need to split off 30% of your power to guard me anymore. When we face enemies, you must fight with all your strength. Yuer declared. Li Wei stared in surprise before nodding. I almost forgot the most important thing. Yuer hurriedly pulled out her notebook and pen from her cloth bag. So much happened today, I haven't had a chance to record it all yet. The pair, one tall and one small, returned to the base of the low hill. Yuer squatted down to the side and began writing in her notebook. Lu Yi retrieved a jade whistle, no longer than an inch, placed it to her lips, and blew a sound like the wind. This was a communication artifact used by the Sentinel Spirit Army's sentinels, the Watchman's Whistle. The wind-like sound concealed its true nature, seeming faint yet capable of carrying messages over 500 miles. By varying the length and rhythm of the whistles, sentinels could transmit information and contact nearby comrades and sentinel spirits. Xuanhuan had already put away the Earth Tome and was meticulously organizing the contents of Fu Wenyan's cosmic pouch, as if searching for something specific. Despite possessing a world-shattering beauty, her features exquisitely refined, her loveliness rivaling Zhang Ning, the proclaimed first beauty of Lingxiao, she stubbornly opposed the Shoutian edict due to her father's death, choosing to present herself as a boy. Mastering the transformation technique was part of this disguise. Brother Wei, come quickly. Xuanhuan had discovered something. Clutching a rolled-up animal hide, her eyes fixed on it, she waved Li Wei over with obvious excitement. Another find, Brother Xuanhu. Li Wei asked as he approached, glancing at the strange beast hide. The hide was covered in lines, with annotations in several places. It resembled a map, but a crude one, showing only a single road and descriptions of the surrounding terrain. It was likely a map Fu Wenyan had drawn himself, to help him remember the route. The map's starting point was the Calamity Crossing Temple. The destination was marked as the Azure Cloud Realm. Xuanhuan cautiously glanced at Lu Yi in the distance. This person is no ordinary cultivator. Her halberd techniques resemble those of the Lu clan, the leader of the 8 divisions in the rainforest living realm. Her innate talent rivals that of the top chief disciples. How did you meet her? Can we trust her? Speak freely, Li Wei replied. Xuanhuan transmitted telepathically, have you noticed a wisp of azure cloud chi within the earth tome? That chi doesn't belong to Fu Wenyan, it's almost immortal in nature. Li Wei had already noticed this and nodded, waiting for her to continue. Fu Wenyan must have stood out among the Calamity Crossing Temple's disciples because of these 2 pages of the Earth Tome, Xuanhuan said, but such a precious artifact. Why would a mere junior be qualified to carry it? The Fu clan elders certainly aren't aware of this. It's his unexpected fortune. Li Wei countered. Xuanhuan nodded. I agree. That's why I searched his cosmic pouch for clues, and I found one. The map's destination, the Azure Cloud Realm, is likely where he obtained the Earth Tome. He marked the route in detail, probably planning to return once his cultivation improves. Li Wei admired Xuanhuan's meticulousness. He glanced at the parchment scroll. Judging by the map's markings, it doesn't seem far from the Calamity Crossing Temple. Not close at all. The Azure Cloud Realm isn't a life realm, it's a secret realm. Xuanhuan waved her hand. The Calamity Crossing Temple is located in the chaotic zone southeast of the 100 realms of the living. This, chaotic zone, refers to an area where life realms and nether realms intersect and are mutually isolated, yet life realms within it can still communicate with each other. Unlike the Lingxiao realm, which is separated from the nearest rainforest living realm by 500,000 miles of the East Sea, a dangerous stretch of nether darkness where even immortal realm martial mystic cultivators face a 9 in 10 chance of death when crossing it. The life realms within that chaotic zone, including some southern realms of the 100 realms of the living, all fall under the influence of the Calamity Crossing Temple. According to the map, the Azure Cloud Realm is at least 50,000 miles away from the Calamity Crossing Temple. I only stayed at the temple for a little over 2 years, so I'll need to consult the map to pinpoint its exact location. Lu Yi approached and transmitted a message to Li Wei. There are no sentinel spirits within a 2,500 miles radius. We're in grave danger and must regroup with trustworthy great immortal experts immediately. Having spent years in the nether realm of the dead, Lu Yi felt deeply insecure, constantly sensing imminent danger. The underground space was vast, extending in all directions. Since descending, they had already traveled nearly 1,000 miles south without seeing any boundaries. Though 1,000 kilometers was a considerable distance, they remained within the range of the transcendent battle. If the transcendents breached the seabed, their power would instantly annihilate them. Since the founding ancestor instructed us to head south, the immortal realm great powers from the Xuanhuan sect and Zhu Li clan must be moving in the same direction. Xuanhuan Hongding mused, puzzled. Logically, someone should have been sent to meet us by now. She reached for the formation flag, ready to set off south immediately. Suddenly, Li Wei pressed a hand to her delicate shoulder, signaling her to be silent. Whoosh. More than a dozen Thundercloud sect experts, led by Great Elder Chen Jin, materialized 100 zhang away from the hidden formation. Their bodies flickered with lightning as they raced forward. After they halted, a purple-robed elder said, "They're fast. The direction must be right, but how can we not catch up?" Lei Wu, first commander of the Thundercloud sect, declared, "We can't let them join forces with the Zhu Li clan and Xuanhuan sect's great immortal realm experts. Keep pursuing them, we must intercept them." As the Thundercloud sect members departed, another figure descended gracefully on the wind, his Taoist robe billowing. His eyes shone brightly in the dim light, and an ancient sword hung across his back. He scanned the area for traces, lingered briefly, then vanished into the darkness with astonishing speed. None of them dared unleash their Tao heart manifestations, fearing exposure. They searched while simultaneously concealing themselves. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.